Howdy, howdy. Dylan with Huntsville Guns. Just got done closing the shop up for the evening, getting ready to shut everything down. And I remembered that a firearm came in today that we haven't discussed yet, so I wanted to cover it on the channel. It's going to be in that kind of product review category, but also cover the specifics of the model. So kind of a specification breakdown, but also some insight. I've worked on quite a few of these over the years, and I wanted to give you kind of my experience with them. Today we're looking at a Pietta 1873. This is the Cattleman model, so a 4 3/4 inch barrel version. It is color case hardened, pretty beautiful case hardening on it. And it does have the steel frame instead of a brass frame. They make a couple of different versions of this particular gun, but far and away this is probably the most common that I see coming through the door. Like I said, beautiful case hardened finish. The bluing is pretty excellent on these. I see a lot of people who are looking for a single action revolver, and I recommend Pietta pretty regularly. There are another couple of options on the market. So like Uberti, there are quite a few of them that are all kind of in the same price family, pretty close together anyways. And I think bang for the buck, pun intended, Pietta is a pretty good way you can go. I do have one primary issue, if you will, with the majority of them that I've seen. We'll get to that in a second. So like I said, 4 3/4 inch barrel, 357 mag. This is a 6-shot single action. And so pulling the trigger obviously does nothing. You have to cock the hammer every time you go to pull the trigger. They do have, this model has a European walnut grips on it. They are really pretty grips and they're finished well. They do have some gloss to them, but they're not a super high polish. It's a utility finish, something that's going to wear well over the years. It does have a 4-click hammer, which I like. So the gentleman that I did some apprenticing with several years ago, who kind of got me started into gunsmithing, was a cowboy action gunsmith. So the majority of what he worked on was lever action, shotguns and rifles, and single action, historical examples of firearms, revolvers primarily. And the 4-click hammer is notorious with single action armies. And this does have that. It also, it's worth noting, does have a floating firing pin, much like the original. So that firing pin is not fixed to the hammer in a rigid fashion. There is some movement in it, which I also like. There is no transfer bar on this model. And if I'm not mistaken, Pietta doesn't make a transfer bar model. It's one of those things you look at that is kind of pays homage to the original. An original single action army did not have a transfer bar in it. This model, like I said, I did a little bit of research. This model came to me, customer ordered it, and came to me from Bud's Gun Shop. It was originally, the distributor that sold it to Bud's was Davidson's, but you can find them everywhere. I did a little bit of research online looking for price value. I actually found this model in stock at an online retailer, not one I've ever ordered from before, but a quick look on Gun Deals said that you could purchase this model from this online retailer. I'm not going to add their name here, but several retailers had it sub $400 or sub $500. Let me rephrase. And this particular retailer had it for $385.99. At the time of filming this, they had 40 of them in stock. Super good deal for any single action army, especially one in a center fire, not a rim fire. Sub $400 is a good deal for any of them. I think you can't go wrong for that price point. The number one reason I see this revolver come through the door of my shop, any of the Pietta models, this would apply to, but also some of the Ubertis, is the trigger pull. The Italian-made guns, in my experience, beautiful fit and finish. The grips on this fit the frame exceptionally well. There's no gaps. There's no, I can't even feel the transition line between the frame and the grips on this. The fit and finish is great, but they usually have pretty crappy triggers in them. It's just my experience. And part of that is, this is a brand new gun. I took the cylinder off of it to check the cylinder and ran a cotton swab down the cylinder, and there is a lot of machining residue, we'll call it. So either abrasive, carbon from it being test fired, but just machining residue. And so they benefit really well from a good cleaning. I would recommend if you buy one of these, for one, learn how to take it apart, but two, take it out of the box and clean the thing before you use it, because they're usually, there's a lot of this kind of stuff in them. But two, the triggers in these. I normally don't recommend modification of a 4-click trigger. I think that they're perfectly adequate for carrying around or carrying a loaded revolver, but also they're very reliable, very safe. I mean, this action has been around since 1873. They're great guns, but do yourself a favor, call Wolf, order a set of their shooter pack that they make for this revolver. It comes with a couple of different springs, and the main spring that it comes with is a unique design. It has a split down the center of the flat spring, and it gives a very, very nice, reliable hammer strike. It's got enough force to reliably strike primers, but it also lightens the trigger pull on these. The other springs in the kit, take them or leave them, but that main spring from Wolf does a number on these. This gun out of the box has a nearly 7-pound trigger pull, just shy of 7 pounds. And that's pretty heavy for a single action army. A lot of people, it's crisp, so it breaks very cleanly. There's no take up. The trigger and sear are very well fit, but it's heavy. And that mainspring will do wonders for any of these guns out of the box, my experience. Like I said, pretty quick video, just a product that I see pretty regularly, single action armies in particular, but the Pietta, I've seen a lot more of them here recently. It's a really affordable option for somebody looking to get into a cowboy action gun. The Italian-made guns normally are great fit and finish. They're beautiful. But like I said, if you buy one of these, understand that you're probably going to bring it to somebody like me to do a trigger job in them. I'd say a mainspring at minimum. I would lump that into the category of something that you could do in a DIY instance. If you'd like to see something like that, the trigger job on one of these revolvers, drop it in the comments down below. I like the feedback that I'm getting from y'all. Every video I seem to get more and more people that are interested in gunsmithing as a business, but also what the actual day-to-day stuff looks like, removing stuck screws or whatever the case may be. And I love to appease that crowd. If you want to see what the inside of one of these looks like and what a trigger job looks like, I'd be more than happy to film a video. Just need to get the customer's permission. I'm sure he wouldn't be upset about getting a free trigger job out of the deal. But like I said, we'll keep this video nice and short. Thank you all for hanging out. Consider subscribing if you haven't. I cover a lot of content on this channel in the gunsmithing arena, but also the business side of gunsmithing. If that's something that you can get on board with, consider subscribing. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great evening.